What is up, everyone? Welcome into ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. Tonight on the show, we will talk about the latest odds on a particular free agent at wide receiver because the Cowboys are among the top three favorites to end up landing the future Hall of Famer. What is up, everyone? Hope that you guys are having a fun weekend so far. Apologies for the big delay on tonight's show. Today has been filled with unexpected twists on my schedule. But we're here finally, and we are ready to talk some Cowboys football. Later on the show, we will also discuss what was pointed out by Pro Football Focus as the team's biggest weakness and whether or not we agree with it or not. So shout out to some of you guys who are here on the YouTube chat, on the Facebook chat. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Do me a favor and smash the like button. Share the stream if you haven't. What is up, Bruce? What is up, Samuel? We've got Toxic Tom saying, I didn't think that Mo was going to be on tonight, but we are. We definitely are. I'm not entirely sure about tomorrow night, but we were definitely planning on streaming tonight. Let's see. I'm actually not. I know that you guys know that I went on my graduation party last Thursday night, but no, Toxic Tom, I am not, in that state that you think that I am. But anyways, now that more of us are here, let's start the show officially and let's talk some Cowboys football. Here you go. What is up, everyone? Welcome into ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network, with a lot more content coming your way throughout the entire offseason, which, it's getting shorter and shorter each day. Make sure that you check out adcsports.com/Dallas. Remember, you can check out daily Cowboys articles up there, and you can actually read on the topic that we are about to discuss tonight, because we are going to talk tonight on the show about the Cowboys being named among the odds-on favorites to land wide receiver Julio Jones ahead of week 1 of the 2022 NFL season. Now, we'll get into the context of it, whether it makes sense or not, but the Cowboys could be in need for some depth at wide receiver. I don't think that is any secret right now around the Cowboys nation, but there are some X factors here and there that I am sure we will be able to break down tonight. First of all, though, let's open this conversation up with a question. Would you be for or against signing wide receiver Julio Jones to the Dallas Cowboys? And Toxic Tom there got a little bit ahead of the question there by saying, I did not want Julio Jones at all. That is fair. What about you guys who are tuning into Primetime? Would you be for or against wide receiver Julio Jones? What is up, Cedric? Thank you for joining the show. We've got Tammy as well over at Facebook. Some of your answers coming in. Lumen goes with the 4. We've got Gabriel and Antoine going against. And Toxic Tom says, what year is it? Bruce says he's done. For it, says Kenneth Fraser. And Bruce says, I would rather have T.Y. Hilton. And I think I would be for, by the way. But here's the thing. And Michael brought it up. Michael says, what year is it? And that is precisely the thing. This is 2022. And we are officially in July, by the way. And Julio Jones has not signed with any team. And I'm thinking, he cannot be expensive, right, for the Cowboys. Now, this is from bookies.com, by the way. The Packers are the odds-on favorite to land Julio Jones, and these odds are, calculated by bookies.com on Adam Thompson. The Colts come in at number 2, plus 350 and plus 325 respectively. And then you've got the Cowboys at number 3 at plus 550. It all depends to me on what the contract would look like. But if we were talking about a single-digit one-year contract and say $5 million per year, if it's a number that's closer to $5 million rather than closer to $10 million, I wouldn't be against it. I know Julio Jones is not the same guy as before. I know he has not gotten near the 1,000-yard mark since 2019. But wouldn't it help the Cowboys a ton on early in the season, especially when they don't have the best of depth at receiver? And we've talked about how the Cowboys are making a huge bet on Jalen Tolbert, counting on the third-round rookie to be able to step up early in his career as the Cowboys, one, wait for Michael Gallup to return from injury, and 2, are betting on CeeDee Lamb to be able to step up as the number 1 wide receiver. There are plenty of question marks at the position, in my opinion. And if you're able to get a veteran like maybe Julio Jones, and you don't ask him to be a full-time 80% snap starter, and instead work him in the rotation and are able to work or ease Jalen Tolbert into the offense or James Washington into the offense, I wouldn't be against it. I'm not going to tell you that the Cowboys need to do this. I'm not going to go to that extreme, but I definitely wouldn't oppose such a decision. And Taylor Washington here hits the nail in the head, saying, I guess it depends on what role he's looking for. It depends on that, and it also depends on what roles are teams offering you right now. And Gabriel does bring up a good point, saying as a third or fourth receiver, he would need to play special teams. Now, I would guess that that would not happen, of course, for Julio Jones, just because maybe he's not, going to really play into that role. But he can make special teams work, in my opinion. K. Mayfield says, bonuses for games played. If he's healthy and gets single coverage, he murders a team. Julio has been injured. He hasn't forgotten how to dominate. And that's the thing as well. I think that right now, Julio Jones has kind of fallen in the public eye because the numbers have not been up there because he has not really played a lot. He has been injured. And even when he has played, he has been banged up at the very least. I would be all for signing Julio Jones, to be honest. Now, looking at the numbers here, I said this before. He hasn't gotten near the 1,000-yard mark since 2019. But since then, he's played in 9 games and in 10 games in 2021. Now, his average yards per game back in 2020, his last season with Atlanta when he played only 9 games, were at 85.5. So it wasn't like, and his, yards per reception were at a 15.1. So it wasn't like he stopped producing when he was on the field before he got to the Titans. That we know that the Titans also had a lot of offensive problems in 2021. They had significant problems on that offense. Not all of them were limited to Derrick Henry's injury or anything like that. Let's see some more of your comments here. He turned CeeDee into a monster, says Vic. Terrell says, I can see us getting Julio Jones 1 year, $8 million contract. And of course, the guaranteed money is also a huge factor in this whole conversation. But if you don't have a lot of those guarantees and the number gets closer to 10 million, I wouldn't mind that. Now, here is the thing as well. Do the Cowboys really believe Michael Gallup is coming back in September? Because I believe that is a huge factor in this whole conversation. For multiple months, a lot of people were throwing out very different numbers on what the timetable looked like for Michael Gallup. Some people said as little as 4 weeks. Some people went as far as half the season. He's going to miss half the season, according to some. But then Todd Archer from ESPN.com kind of put out a more official kind of opinion in his 53-man roster projection for ESPN.com when he said Michael Gallup should be back in September. And as such, he actually included him on his roster projection instead of having him start on POP or any list like that. So if the Cowboys truly believe that, and if that is the true timetable for Michael Gallup, maybe you're not in such a rush to get someone in at wide receiver. Otherwise, I think you're looking for a veteran to come in and help this rotation out because they might need it. They might desperately need it. Let's see. The Guru says Stephen Jones could not do the Wagner deal. Julio is certain out of the window unless major disaster injury occurs. But is Bobby Wagner in the same tier as Julio Jones right now as a free agent? I would argue that Wagner's deal was more difficult to pull off than a potential Julio Jones deal. Now, if you ask me what my prediction would be for this entire thing, I would say that the Cowboys are unlikely to sign Julio Jones, and I would make them maybe top 5 favorites, but not top 3. But you can see where Adam Thompson's head is at from bookies.com with this list. The Packers make a ton of sense. They don't have a lot of names in that offense. They lost Davante Adams, and even if you like Christian Watson, there's clearly a void on that group. The Colts as well. They got Matt Ryan. You might want to pair him up with Julio again. The Cowboys, the Browns would be a surprise to me, and maybe the Chiefs and the Ravens do make a lot of sense. Now, honestly, I would take a flyer on the no team bet at plus 1,500. if I could open up any sports book and take a bet, I would put some money down at no team plus 1,500 because Julio might be waiting for that role. Like I believe, I don't remember who said it, but it depends on what role Julio is looking for. If he's looking for significant playing time, he might wait until an injury occurs. So maybe no team would be worth a couple of dollars at least. Rolando says, Mo, what's up from South Texas? Did you see a clip of Micah playing pickup basketball? Don't need him to get hurt right before training camp. Yeah, I saw it, and I understand why, as fans, we can get nervous about these sort of clips. And I know that some teams have said, like, to their quarterbacks or players when they find out about these clips online. And I know that it happened with Patrick Mahomes. You remember that when Patrick said that, the front office told him immediately, stop, do not continue doing that. But also, they're athletes. It's a tough ask to tell them not to be out there playing games. So, if it's not Julio, though, there are other potential options for the Cowboys. And this is from Spot Rack. This is the top 10 wide receiver free agents that are available at this stage of the year, which is late in the offseason, as you guys know. If it wasn't Julio, which of these wide receivers would you rather sign? Would it be Will Fuller? I know that, Cowboys Nation wants some speed on offense. Maybe it could be a veteran like, T.Y. Hilton, Cole Beasley, a reunion. Emmanuel Sanders, Allen Hurts, another potential reunion. MJ saying Deshaun Jackson. OBJ, which seems like, a tough ask for the Cowboys. and a lot of people just calling OBJ to eventually join the Rams once more. Adam Humphries, Mohamed Sanu. Honestly, I'm not in love with any of these free agents. But if the Cowboys do not feel great about Gallup's prospects of returning in September, I do believe they're making a risky bet on counting almost exclusively on Jalen Tolbert to step up. Mike Jones says Dede Westbrook or Cole Beasley or Will Fuller is perfect, says Mike Jones, which are somewhat different receivers. So that would be interesting. Bruce says T.Y., Tom Hedrick, OBJ. I will tell you what, though. If the Cowboys were to sign any of these guys, even at 33 years old, I think that I would feel better about getting Julio on the team. That's just me, though. And make no mistake, do not get me wrong. I'm not even high on Julio at this stage. But you're probably not getting someone you're high on at this stage in the offseason, unless it's OBJ, maybe. But even with OBJ, you have some question marks. Terry Goodwin's is toxic, Tom. I refuse to take Cole Beasley back after he disrespected Dallas, says MJ. Lumen says, I say Julio is the best on that list. My opinion, only Adam second. Guru says Jones, Fuller, Beckham, all injury prone. Here's the thing, and I will fully admit to this. I'm a sucker for these low-risk, high-reward bets. And I know that the Cowboys have also been willing to make some of these bets throughout recent years at least. And I do not mind them. So even if he's injury-prone and you can get him at a discount, sign me up. But that's just me. That's the way I look at it overall in terms of NFL team building. Now, before we get out of here, PFF put out an article in which they described or pointed out what, in their opinion, was the Cowboys' biggest weakness on the team. Now, I want to get your thoughts on this because I was not taken off guard, but maybe a little bit surprised at the statement. This was from PFF, and they called the defensive line the biggest weakness for the Cowboys. So my question for me to you is, do you agree or disagree that inside defensive line is the biggest weakness for the Cowboys in 2022? Now, I will read you the exact quote from PFF. The quote is, as good as Lawrence has been up front for the Cowboys over the past 5 years, the rest of the defensive line has some concerns. Dallas defensive tackles combined for a 33.1 PFF run defense grade last season, which was 30th in the NFL. And the only real addition to the group this offseason was fifth-round pick John Ridgeway. The Cowboys are relying on young players such as Neville Gallimore and Oza Odizuwa to take a step forward in 2022. Let's see some of your answers here. And by the way, pay attention to Guru's comment. I agree with it. Hit the like button. Every like allows us to put this show in front of more Cowboys fans. So thank you for your support. Agree with that, says Gregory. MJ says, agree in its entirety. The defense got no drive. Let's see. Terrell goes with the offensive line, which would have been one of the position groups that I would have thought of. I also would have thought of linebacker, maybe. And even, I wouldn't say edge rusher because of Mike or D-Law, but in terms of depth, I am concerned about edge rushers. TJ linebacker would be a good fit also, says Troy. Jones is finished. What's up, Stephen White? Thank you for joining the show. But you got to admit, PFF does have a point in saying that the Cowboys were not good versus a run. And I think everyone in Cowboys Nation kind of agrees with that. Even though the Cowboys finished as a top 3 defense in EPA per play in the entire season, they were ranked that high overall because of their pass defense. If you look at the rush defense exclusively, it got bad for Dallas for a while there, and in big part because of the defensive line. The Cowboys were not winning in the trenches. And it's a good point from PFF, in my opinion, even though I disagree that it's the weakest spot. I would probably go with linebacker. The Cowboys didn't make any key additions to step up on defense. They're counting on players that were already on the team to step up. And the one guy that you're looking at maybe is Oza. It has to be Oza. He is a prime breakout candidate for the Cowboys in his second year with the team. So we'll see how that plays out. But Oza was highly productive, and he ranked as one of the most productive rookies at defensive tackle in the season, as we have discussed throughout this offseason. Ultra Cowboys says the Cowboys are not signing anybody. Save the money for the NFL trade deadline if needed. And even then, we know that the Cowboys have, aside from that 2018 big-time trade for Amari Cooper, they have been quiet at the deadline. Toxic says, Mo, it's been bad for over 10 years. That's management. Bruce says, I worry about the O-line more than the D-line. I do too. I do too. Even though I would say, the Cowboys at the very least have Tyron Smith and Zach Martin at offensive line. And Tyler Viadic was able to start. He was not great, I'll give you that, but he also was not terrible or anything like that. Dumpster says, invite Philly 500 on your show. I have not watched Philly 500. I will check it out. And, someone brought up the possibility of putting together a whole debate show with Skywalker, myself, and some other Cowboys Nation people here in the YouTube space or the Facebook space. I would be up for that. I would definitely be up for that. But anyways, that will be it for me tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you. Do me a favor and smash the like button. Thank you for sharing this stream. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, let your friends know that, you can catch Primetime every weeknight at 8 p.m. Central. Once more, apologies for the late start this Sunday, but I hope that you guys have a fun Sunday night, and I hope that you also have a fun 4th of July. So happy Independence Day to you guys, and I will see you tomorrow night. Thank you. Bye-bye.